I'll share with you a story that happened to me Friday afternoon. I was in a taxi going to the Kotels. We try to do Friday afternoon down in here at the Kotel, Minchen and Kollel Shabbos. And the driver started talking to us and started telling us why there was a problem, political problem in Israel. He says a major problem is that the Yeshiva students don't serve in the army. So I have a Kabbalah from my Rebbe Rav Moshe Sternbach, is that if we express to the non-religious the importance of Torah learning and that it is really guarding the country, then they'll appreciate it. So I said, not upset or angry, but just very firmly, I said about a story that happened in Tifrach that the that the Yeshiva Bachrim there during the war, they kept learning even during when the bombs were going off and the sirens. And in the army, they noticed no bombs were coming near Tifrach, right? Even though there was a lot of bomb in the area, but things were going strong. And they realized that that was protecting the area. They realized that the Torah that was being learned there was protecting the area and the importance of the Torah being learned. And this is something which we have to realize that. Yeah? If we realize that what we're doing is important and we express it and we really believe it and we internalize it, then our non-religious brethren will do so as well. So this is a very, very important point. There's a lot of people get married and they learn in Kollel, and I'm a Rosh Kollel, so I definitely have to um, encourage that practice. It's very, very good things. Rebbe Rav Brevda Zatzal used to say, if you don't learn a couple of years in koilel, the marriage just doesn't go. At the beginning of marriage, when husband and wife are starting off their marriage, it's a very good thing for the husband to be learning Torah, especially in Eretz Israel, especially in Kol Torah Chaim if you want to become a posik, Bezrat Hashem. But there's also a danger, which I'd like to speak about, which is the idea of open-ended learning. Open-ended learning. That a person just says, I'm going to be forever in Kollel. And of course, there are individuals who are meant to be spending their life learning. They're people who the world rests on. But for a lot of people, the concept of open-ended learning has a certain danger to it because people are not recognizing the value of their time. And when the time is limited, as it was in Europe, they had a very a person who wanted to dedicate himself to Torah, he would have 5 years to learn, and then he would become a Rav. And when a person has 5 years to learn, and during that 5 years, you have to finish Shas and Shulchan Aruch. So they finished Shas and Shulchan Aruch in 5 years. Right? Of course, they started beforehand, but in 5 years, they were able to accomplish a tremendous amount. And if a person um, learns Torah in an open-ended way, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. It's a person should mentality has to be that he only has today. Today is a gift, and to accomplish as much as possible. And who knows? Who knows what's going to be in a day, in a month, in a year? We don't know. A person whose outlook to Torah is like that, he will accomplish a tremendous amount. A person who feels, well, why should I push myself today? I have tomorrow. Why should I push myself tomorrow? I have the next week. Right? So this is not, in my opinion, a healthy attitude, and I don't think a person is going to grow to the maximum potential he can with such an outlook. So again, I highly recommend a person, a young couple getting married. The idea of learning Kol, it's a beautiful idea, and in Kol Torah Chaim, we have a 7-year program. We finish uh, Shabbos Kashrus at Isbheter and Taras Mishpacha. We try to accomplish that's Be'iyun and Bekias, other topics as well. And I try to push the Abrechim very, very hard. But this is the most important point, is to realize the value of time. And I was told by my Rebbeim, Rav Volba and Rav Shlomo Brevder, Volba told me that the right time to leave, that a person should definitely wants to stay in Klei Kodesh should start is the age of 30. Rav Brevda said from Chasik Levenstein, the time is 40. And I believe it's somewhere in between when a person feels he's built himself enough, a person wants to stay in Torah learning. But the right time to leave and to go out and do something outside of the to get a job and to start being marbit stars between 30 and 40, because that's when a person is in high energy years. They've gotten to a level of maturity and a level of Torah learning where they can give over to others. They should do it then, and it's important. Like sometimes I kick people out of the Kollel. I say, no, the time has come. The Gra says there's three stages in Torah development. There's bor, be'er, and mayin. Bor is when you're being filled up, right? Which is, a person usually starts as a bor. A bor is an empty pit, and he gets filled up with the water from his teachers. Be'er is when he starts giving over to others. Mayin is when he does it on a more major scale. I would say that's turning time. A person could be a mayin. He could be speaking in the Kollel and having a shirim going all over the world, to Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, and even to the North Pole if there's anybody there. In any event, but this is the idea of using your time well. Past three classes we gave on Parkinson's law, that things will take as much time as you allot them. Use your time the best. Remember from the Gedolim that we spoke about, Rav Asher Eli and Rav Shalom Zalman Auerbach, that how the Gedolim use their time, how Abai and Rava doing chesed is a great use of our time, learning Torah is a great use of our time, doing mitzvahs is a great use of our time, and whatever we could do, however much we could fit into our daily schedule, without making people around us nervous, um, is a very, very great thing that we could do and value our time in this world. And of course, I always say I have my check here, check for $1 million, which I keep in my tefillin box in the side pocket. That when I'm putting on my tefillin, I realize the value of this. And this is the pasuk in Mishlei, Beis, Parak Beis, pasuk Daled, I believe it is. The pasuk says, "Im tekapsenu kesef." I'll read you the exact wording of the pasuk. The pasuk says, it's Beis Daled, "Im tevakshenu kekesef ukatmonim tekapsenu." If you look for it like silver and buried treasure, then as tav in Yiras Hashem, then you'll understand Yiras Hashem. And this is, we have to realize that we have buried treasure. Um, we have in the mitzvahs that we do, in the Torah that we learned, that $1 million is a weak analogy. It's really much more, but that's a starting point because that's something which people realize it's valuable. We should all realize the great value of our time, and B'ezras Hashem, use it to the fullest to do as much as we can in this world. And Hashem should help us to be successful in this endeavor. Amen. Kain Tirotza.